for the third time. At this point, this is embarrassing, and we're just going to save this so we can watch the rerun. So, in this video, we are talking about craft market, pop up shops, and anything of that sort, vendor events, anything of that sort that you do for your skincare business or any business at all. But I'm going to be speaking from a skincare business point of view because that's what I have, right? So, in what we're going to go over is basically some tips and tricks. I'll link some stuff that I use in my pop-up shops when I used to do pop-ups and I did vendor events. I'll link them in the description box of what the things that you might need when you're doing these events. I'll also work on yeah, I'm laughing at myself because I can't believe I'm doing this for the third time. Either way, so we're going to go over that. I'll share some questions that I have from you guys, and I'll also take some questions from anyone who's on the live. So if you're here, please like the live, share the live, leave a comment in the comment section, and yeah, thanks for being here. So let's begin. Ooh, ooh, are we losing this again? Ah, I think we did, guys. Once again. Okay, there it goes. All right, so the first thing that we're going to go over is the importance of first impression in a pop-up shop. So if you have a pop-up, have a business overall, you're going to a pop-up shop, right? One of the first things you have to focus on is your first impression. What is the first impression? Is basically what's the first thing that your customer sees, what is displayed, branding, brand identity, colors. What is the first thing the customer see, and what is it that the customer will see that will make them want to come to your pop-up? That's the important thing. What will they see that will make them say, you know what, I want to go to her pop-up shop instead of someone else's. I want to see what she has going on instead of what someone else has going on, right? What will make them come to you? What makes your pop-up stand out? So that's what, when we think about first impressions, that's what we think about. First impressions can even be, how you look. Are you presentable? Are you representing your brand well? Does it look like what you're selling is something that I would purchase from you? If it's skincare, like just how you dress up yourself professionally overall. Sometimes it's based on how you look, because sometimes people take a look at you from a distance and say, you know what, I don't want to go to her booth, or how your booth is set up, or if it's not how your booth is set up, how your color, what color is drawing them, because that's where color psychology comes in. What color is drawing in your customers? But one thing I will say about this, when you're just starting out, color psychology might kind of throw you off, and I don't want any of these tips to limit you and probably hold you back from doing a pop-up shop because you think that you have to do so much things. You really don't. Like, one of the main things is the first impression and the setup. The setup is really important to basically attract new customers, attract new people trying to talk to you, at least attract new people, the people that are passing by. Hope attract them enough so that they can stop at your station instead of someone else. Hi, thank you for being here. That's fine. Thanks for being here. Like the video. Thank you. All right. So you want to be able to attract the passerbys. It's like if you're in a mall, you want, your first impression needs to be up to par so that someone who is passing by will want to stop at your station rather than someone else, if that makes sense. All right. I hope you're here with me. All right. So if you're just joining, definitely like the live, say hi. Thanks for being here. Whew. So the next thing we're going to go over is creating a visual appeal. I mentioned earlier color schemes, branding, decor. Now, if you're just starting out, your visual appeal will most likely be in your decor, right? Because remember, you're just starting out, you probably don't have a lot of things, and that is fine. You can think about your branding elements. Let's say you don't have a lot of all these things. Think about your branding element. When I mentioned how you look as the owner at a pop-up, do you have on, like when I used to do pop-ups, I always had a shirt, like my uniform for my pop-up, and it had my brand on the front of it. So something like that for your pop-up shop. Have a shirt with your brand name on it, on the front, on the back, right? Have your brand name on the front, on the back, to help. Something just pop up. Yeah, so to help your customers recognize you, maybe returning customers can help to recognize you on that, or just past customers that are passing by, maybe they want to go somewhere else and then they want to come back to you. If they want to come back to you, they can go ahead and look at your shirt, probably remember your name from that, right? Because that's something that I used to do as well. When I did pop-ups, I always had a shirt, there was always a uniform, there was always, you know, a way for you to identify me. Like you can always identify me by my uniform and everything that I have on. Right, thanks for everyone who's joining. Hi, thanks for being here. I used to do pop-ups myself a lot when I had my store, and everything that I'm sharing is everything that I did back then, what worked and what didn't work, and I'm sharing those tips and tricks with you. So if you have any questions, let me know in the comment section. All right, so I just started today. Can you start over? I just started, so I didn't get really far. All right, so the next thing that I want to talk about is you're telling a story with your booth. Let's say, for example, or I wouldn't even say story. Make sure that your layout of your products are cohesive. So when I used to do my pop-ups, let's say I did skincare because I had body butters, right? I also had body scrubs. So I would start off, depending on the direction of the traffic, even though they come from anywhere, but I would like to have my bathroom products first, meaning stuff that you use in the shower. Your scrub, your soaps. I had a few facial washes as well. They were at the front of everything, so your customer can see that first. Once I would put those out, then I'd have my body butter to follow with that, because usually when people are shop, they like to have sets, so they like to match everything up together. So they will go from that way, pick through those things, and then they will go ahead and add like a skincare product, like a body butter or something, or anything along that line to add to it, right? Let me know if you have any questions so far. Hold on, let me bring it down just a little bit. Ooh, there we go. All right. If you're here, if you're passing by, please like the live. Hi, how are you? Thanks for joining. Thanks for joining in with us today. All right, so the next thing we're going to go over, let's close this one. So the essentials for a setup, a functional setup. All right, so one thing I will say, one thing that helped me when I used to do pop-ups is, in regards to the functional setup, is having a pop-up in an area that is built for pop-ups, even though that doesn't happen all the time. But a lot of my pop-up shops, when I started to have like a permanent pop-up, it was built for pop-ups, so it had like fixtures that I could set up and then do my displays that way, which made it a lot easier, right? So now for the places that I went, that it's not a pop-up area, it's a field, or it's a vendor event and you have to set up everything. I had a simple setup, so that's what I'm going to go over. I know nowadays you have a lot of lavish setup. Just give me 1 minute. It says, where are you from? I am in the States, originally from Jamaica. If you hear the accent, if that's what you meant, yeah, that's the answer. So yeah, I was saying, nowadays you have like a lot of lavish type of setup, and that's okay, but I don't want you to use that to deter you from doing a pop-up shop. Don't let that deter you from doing a pop-up shop. Don't let that make you feel scared, because I don't compare yourself to some of these businesses that have a budget to do a big pop-up, and they'll have like the lavish setup and all this stuff, and you're probably like, oh well, you can't afford that, so you shouldn't do a pop-up shop. Don't let that stop you. Still go ahead and do your pop-up shop and use what you have. Because I've went places and seen many lavish setup, and that's great. And I didn't have that set up, but I didn't allow that to stop me from doing my pop-up. I still did it, still sold my items, still, still went through, still got through with the goal. So don't allow that to stop you because you don't have all of the blings and the blanks and everything that everyone else has, right? If you're just joining, say hi. Please like the live. All right, so the next thing, any questions? Anybody have any questions? No? Do I have any comments here? Okay, no comments here either. All right, yeah. So next thing I want to walk through is what is your approach for when customers do stop, right? So let's say they do pass by, they do stop at your booth. Thank you. Thank you for being here. Let's say a customer does pass by, they do stop at your booth. When they stop at your booth, they what is it that you're going to do to keep them on here? What is it that you're going to do to help sell your items? And one thing I'll suggest is samples. I had a lot of samples, like samples were my main thing. I had a lot of samples for my customers or potential customers. And the reason being is that when they this depending on if you're going somewhere for a pop-up shop, that means these people are coming there to purchase. So it would be ideal to have so it would be ideal for you to have samples so that they could try stuff, they could test it out, they could what do you call it, test it out on their hand, basically test it out and see if it's something that they want to like, if they want to like and they want to try, and if that's something that they want to buy and something that they would want to have in their life. So definitely check that out as well. Do that, try that as well. Like I guarantee, especially for skincare, always have a sample, because sorry, always have a sample, because people want to know how things smell. People want to know how People want to know how things smell. People want to know how things will feel on their skin. People want to know if they will like something. People want, you just want to test things out. Sometimes the little saying where they say taste and buy, it really works with a pop-up shop. So you might want to do that. Make sure you have your hand. Make sure you have the little samplers. In my description box, I listed some of the sample sticks that you can use to help scoop up stuff and have customers test it, and they can scoop it up themselves. Don't be too shabby and too shy with the testers, and have them use that to test on their skin and see what happens. They might like it. They can smell it that way. They might like how it feel, and they might want to purchase it. All right. Whew. That was a mouthful. All right, so the next thing we can add to that is making sure that your booth is organized. So let's say you don't have the lavish setup, and you just don't have a lot of things, or you just have a simple setup just starting out. The basic thing that you can do is make sure it's organized, right? Make sure it is organized and appealing to the viewers that are coming by. So don't have like your products here and then have a whole bunch of other stuff around it, right? Don't have everything on the table, your card reader and things like that. Make sure it is organized, product in front, you behind it, and everything else that needs to be behind it can be there, instead of having like a whole bunch of stuff during that time, doing having a whole bunch of stuff on the table, on your booth or whatever, and distract your customers from what they came there for. Let me put my hands on. Sorry about that. And distract your customers for what they came there for. Now, I feel like that was a lot as well to take in. If you have any questions, if you're watching this with the replay, please let me know below. If you're watching it from the replay, in the comment section, you can go ahead and add in what is called a question. You can add a question in, and I will just answer it after this if you're not able to put it in. But yeah, if you're just joining, please like the live. We're talking about craft market, we're talking about craft shows and things that tips and tricks that I've learned doing this during my time. And yeah, I wanted to share that with you guys. So if there's any questions, let me know. If not, we're going to continue to the next part of this, right? All right. Give me 1 second. Let me scroll down. All right. So let's say for your okay. Let's say for your craft show, I do have my notes here. That's what I'm pulling to the side, left, right, and center. Let's say for your craft show here, you have the opportunity to have a full table instead of just like a wall, a grid. You have a table instead. Sometimes you have both. For your table, you may have a tablecloth. You want to make sure, first of all, check with the vendor or the event to see if they're providing tables. If they're not providing tables, make sure you have your own table. Usually it's the long rectangle tables. You can get those tables on Amazon if this is something that you're going to continuously do. So make sure those you can get those from Amazon, right? So those long rectangular table, you've been to parties, you've seen those long rectangular, event tables. You may need one of those. So you'll have one of that. Let's say you have one of that. Make sure that the tablecloth that you have on it is sturdy. If it is the plastic cheap ones, at least make sure, because I've done that before, and I've used that before, and honestly it wasn't as, I didn't really like it. And then because I was doing pop-ups so much, I decided to invest in an actual thick tablecloth that I can use repeatedly, and that I could wash, rather than a plastic tablecloth that I have to keep throwing away, and as I'm throwing it away I have to just purchase another one. I didn't want to keep doing that, so as a result I decided to get myself my own tablecloth, my own reusable tablecloth that was thick and sturdy and able to get the job done without too much issues. And you want to make sure that this tablecloth is clean. Some people have a preference between wrinkle and wrinkle free tablecloth. Up to you, because I like it wrinkle free, but let's say I wash it and I don't have time to do wrinkle free, then I just iron it out. And I don't have time to do wrinkle free, I kind of depend on my products to kind of stretch it out and take away from people paying attention to it being wrinkled, because I'll have so much products on it. I'll have so much products on it that they won't even be able to pay attention to that, right? Okay. Any questions from any guests? Any questions? No? Okay. All right, so let's go on to the next topic. The next one will be our display racks or risers. So the risers you can use to add like dimension and make your product more visible. I used to have one. I had one. Dang, I should have that to show. Let me look right here to see if I have it here to show you guys, because I used to have it right here. Okay, so it's not accessible at the moment. I thought I took it out. I didn't. But they have clear risers that you can use. Let me Google it right here so I can show you. And what you will do is use that. So remember me that tell you about your display? The risers can help with your display. And you can use it, because that's what I would do. I will put it in the center and I'll put products on top of it to help to make sure that my products are visible from afar, and just to kind of level off everything so you can see multiple different products. Give it some layer, give it some dimension, Let me put it right here, display risers, because I don't have mine close by, which I should have. Not sure if you guys can see it, but ooh, yeah, this is them. Not sure if you can see them, but that's what they look like. So these are risers. I had this one here a little bit wider. I had this one, and I also had the one in the back. I got those. You can get them from Amazon, but I also got them from there was a lot of stores that were closing down when I used to do pop-up shops, and I just went to one of those stores that were closing down and just bought it from there and used that on my display. Sorry. Oh. And used that on my display. Okay, this is the same shot. All right, so the next thing that we want to add in here, that I'm going to tell you a next tip for your display. So we went over tablecloth, now display racks and risers. So that's what I was mentioning, the grid panels. So you have grid panels or you have baskets for smaller items. So you probably have a little basket that you can put on the table and put your smaller items in, right? These things need to be accessible, right? I can show you that as well. So if this was like a edited video, I'd have all these pictures readily and available. I didn't have, one of my permanent pop-ups came with like a grid panel setup, so I didn't have that issue, right? Some people purchase their own and create it for their pop-up shops or their events. This is what a grid panel is. Now this, I would say it not cost that much, but it is also more so if you have like a lot of customers, if you're going to a very popular event, it can be beneficial. You don't have to do this. You can look at Pinterest ideas to see grid panel, inspiration display for a pop-up shop or craft market, but something you can look into. This is what a grid panel looks like for your display, right? Now, keep into mind, a lot of the grid panels though, I think most of those are like for jewelry companies, jewelry, keychain, stuff like that. I'm not quite sure if that's something that you would do for skincare, because I didn't need a grid panel, even though in the craft market they had like little panels and the holes, but I just used that to hold my shelves, and then I'll display my products behind me so I can stretch back and put things in bags when customers ask for it. But yeah, you can definitely look into a grid panel and see if that is something that you would want to incorporate in your business. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at the other point here. So we did tablecloth, display racks, risers, grid panels, and baskets. Product arrangement is the next step. So product arrangement is basically, you know I think I mentioned this earlier, which is grouping products from different segments together, which makes sense. You know what I say? Like, group them together. Make sure, let's say you have scrubs, group your scrubs together, group them together, and make sure, so for somebody don't have scrubs over here, scrubs in the middle, scrub on the right, scrub in the corner, have them together. If you have 4 different types of scrubs, have the 4 of them together. That way the customer can say, hey, let me check this scrub out from the sample. Make sure you have a sample. If I even have samples for scrubs so people can spell it. So make sure you have one scrub that is, let's say that's a lavender. I had a rose one, you have the mango and the tea tree. Have the sample in front of them. Ooh, where's my sample size? I'll pick it up. But have the sample in front of them. With that sample, you can show them, how it smells. As I mentioned earlier, the sample, you can show your customers how it smells, and they can have an opportunity to try it, and they can open it and see what is inside. So have the sample in front of it. So that's what I'm talking about, grouping it. And if you have body butters, group your body butters together the same way, but make sure them can test the scent out. You know what I say? Group it together so they can test the scent out and see which one they would prefer. Okay? Alright, let's do, I'm going to show you guys the sample size. Do I have it here? Yes, I do. Sorry about that. I just had to show you. So this is one of my scrubs I showed in my other video a while ago. See it here? So when I had my business, this is a scrub, and then this would be, most of my scrubs were this size anyways, but I would always have one open for them to try. This makes it look weird, because this had rose petals inside of it, and they would be able to try this, and as they're trying it, they could smell it, see if they like it. They can also too, this feels so good, this scrub feels so good. I need to make this again. But yeah, so they could try it and see if that's something that they like. And that's why I said, have everything grouped together so your customers can try them out. A little more odd. Okay. So the next thing we want to point out, so we have the grouping. The next thing I have my notes here is visibility. Visibility is basically okay, there it is. So yeah, so visibility is making sure that your best selling items are accessible and that they're eye-catching so your customers can see them, right? Make sure your best-selling items are placed at eye level. So when I mentioned the risers, your best-selling items could be on that. So one of my displays, like, oh my gosh, I wish I took pictures of my displays because that would be good to share. So one of my displays, right, I had the riser, and right behind the riser I would use something like this. For the risers, if I didn't have my panel display signage, because I had something for signage, I had those as well. Those were pretty handy. But let's say I didn't have them and my signage was pretty smaller. I used these things to hold some of my signage, and what it does is allow you to, it's like this. This is what I use. So if I had small signage, right, I would use this. What is it called? Multi-purpose usage. What is the name of this? Card holder. Most of them people use them in wedding. So you'll use your small pricing, your small signage, and you'd use one of these things to hold it up. I have this linked in my Amazon storefront. I'll put it in the description as well. But you use these small things, these rings, to hold it up, and like say the ring will be right here and my display will be right in front of it at eye level. So the ring behind it with the card will tell you what it is and how much, and the product will be right there at eye level, and then underneath it I can have other products. So that's what I meant when I said, to have it at eye level and make sure your customers can read the sign. All right, so that was a mouthful. Anybody have any questions so far? Any questions? No? Okay, well, we will continue. Thanks for being here, by the way. If you're here, like the video, that would be really helpful. Let me like it myself too. Yeah, it would be really helpful if you know, like the video. All right, so the next thing we're going to go over is pricing and signage, which I've mentioned a lot a while ago, and for good reason, because a lot of people, when they go to craft markets, or when even I go to craft markets, one of the things that I cannot stand is not being able to see the price of an item. Right? I need to know how much something costs. Don't you just hate that? Have you ever been to an event or been to somewhere and you don't know what's the price of the item is? And the reason why it's important to have your signage available. Thanks for the hearts. The reason why it's important to have your signage available is because, let's say you have a crowd, right? And I'm passing by and someone else is passing by, you're dealing with a customer. Even though you're dealing with a customer, you can't be accessible to everybody right away. I can still look at your signage and see the price of your item and also see what your item is without having to wait and getting annoyed. Because nowadays I don't think lots of people have patience. I don't really think they do. But they'll be able to, while you're dealing with another customer, they can look at your signage, they can look at the pricing, they can use self-help test the products of themselves, and basically shop around while you're doing other stuff, rather than having to wait for you to figure out what you're doing. Then they have to ask you the price of the product, then they have to ask you things like that. Even though people will still ask you questions, but it's very good to have your signage, make sure it's clear, make sure it's readable pricing, and make sure they can see it. Don't just have the signage and have it like cotched up in the corner. No, I have a set of body butters here. Guess what? Your sign needs to be behind that body butter. You don't need to have it all over the place. Make sure they can see it. Lots and lots of signs. All right. All right. Any questions so far? No? All right, let's share this again to the public. Give it another share. Okay. All right, so we just did a share there. Whew. I'm thirsty. Close my bottle. Oh well. All right, so the next one is lighting. Now, this depends on where you're doing the pop-up, because it depends on outside pop-up is a bit different. We're going to talk about outside pop-up in detail too, especially with skincare products, but it depends on where you're popping up, to be honest. If you have concern about lighting, if you feel like the place that you're going to pop up, there's not sufficient light, then you're going to have to bring your own lighting. This is going to look like having like this is going to look like having affordable LED lights, even if it's like a box light, a soft box light, like a square ones that I have right here, that's what's in front of me, or even mini one that you put on over your phone, depending on how the setup is. If it's one of those lavish luxury pop-ups, you're going to need proper light. Lighting is important. You're going to need light to make sure you can see the items. We already know you can see the items, but we also want to make sure your customers can see them, right? Because that is a very, very important, that your customer is able to see. It is very important that your customer is able to see the products, see what they're purchasing. Your customers is able to, you know, see the price and all of that. So lighting is very important, and lighting usually takes your display from subpar to even better, depending on where you're popping up, and depending on where your craft market. But honestly, craft markets are usually outside, so you probably don't need that much light. But what I will say is, this advice, take it with a grain of salt. If it listen, if it works for you, works for you. If it doesn't apply, let it fly. Okay. Whew. If you are just joining, thanks for joining. Like the live for me. This is a live on tips and tricks for craft markets, things that you should probably consider before you do a craft market, things that could change, things that you could purchase, things that could make your craft market situation a little bit better than it may be right now. So if you're interested in that, subscribe, like the video, because that helps a lot. And yeah, so let's continue to the next one. All right. I do not have my product labels. That's it. If that's something that you guys want to see, I can probably make another video and just show them. I'll post them in my community post. Yeah, I'll post like examples of them and post a link. Let's do that. All right. So the next segment is segment 3, well 4. Let's talk about customer engagement at a pop-up shop. What does that even look like for you? Right? What does customer engagement look like for you, and how would you go about doing that? Ooh, sorry guys. Gotta fix that. Ooh. So customer engagement ties into the things that we spoke about earlier, right? What am I talking about? That's more like the engagement with the products. That's a part of customer engagement, because guess what? You have samples, you have a reason to talk to them. So imagine you having samples, you have a reason for your customers to speak to you about the products, you have a reason for you to start a conversation, and based on that conversation it can probably lead to a sale, because sometimes customers just want to talk, and why not? Honestly, if you're an entrepreneur and you have a business and you have a pop-up shop and stuff like that, and you're annoyed at people coming up to you, you are probably in the wrong business, and you probably shouldn't be doing this, right? So definitely go ahead and that's an opportunity to start conversation and engage with your customers. And then by also having them try other things, that's a way that you can engage with them. So for example, a customer comes up and you're standing there. Next thing, if a customer comes up and you're on that phone, put that phone down. I see a lot of people do that. Why do you have your phone up? Yeah, a customer is coming to you and you're trying to make a sale, like, why is your face down on your phone? You don't even know who is there. So put the phone down and introduce yourself. Hi, speak to them. They would want to ask them if they want a sample. Give them samples. Let them try it. Listen. No matter how much samples you have here, let them keep trying to see what they like. Some people will like it, some people won't. That's fine. But use this as an opportunity to engage them. I feel like more people I made more sales when I used to do pop-up shop, when I spoke to people. Like, if you're at a pop-up shop and you're just sitting down in a corner, I used to say that to you, just sitting down in a corner, you're not going to make much sales. Me, I'm right in front of well, not in front, but I'm beside my booth, and I'm stopping people as they're passing by. Hi, like, would you like to try a sample? I gave so many samples, and that's how I got a lot of sales, because I was giving out samples and I was speaking to the customers that are passing by, not ignoring them, not having an attitude. Let me not talk to them like I was girl. I, I was making sure I speak to them. Hi, which let's try. Like, when I really think about it, I hustling. I was really hustling because I made sure I reached out to any customer passing, made sure that I ask them if they want a sample. Would you like to try something? Sometimes they stop and they talk to me and we talk about stuff. I have customers tell me stuff and tell me stories, and then that's how you get returning customers if it's a permanent pop-up shop or on an online business. Like customers were really, yeah, that was a really good strategy to have when at pop-up shop. That's something I say a lot of people don't do, but why would it? To me, it's like if you're at a pop-up shop, why wouldn't you talk to people? Like, why wouldn't you say hi? Why wouldn't you kind of say hi so they can come over to your booth? Why wouldn't you do that? Why would you be on your phone? You're not here to make sales. I'm not saying to like hound them down, right? But talk to them, say hi, greet the customers that you're passing, and they'll stop and probably, who knows, that's probably how you'll get a first sale or multiple sales that way. All right. I hope that helps someone. If you have any questions, let me know. All right, so the next one is, yes, I did mention smiling and talking to your customers. Yeah, and I have that here. When I say talking to your customers, it allows your customers to feel welcomed rather than not speaking to them. It's like, why are you here, right? So speak to your customers so they can feel welcome. Oh, that's what that hurt me. That's what's like scratching me. Anyways, yeah, speak to your customers, let them know that you appreciate them being here. Make your customers feel welcome. Don't just ignore them. Like, why would you doing that? Also, one more thing I have here that I didn't mention is when you do speak to your customers, let them know which one is your favorites, because they like to ask that. And I had my favorite product and I would share it all the time. And anytime I share my favorite products, I'm always get a sale on it, because my favorite was the mango and the lavender, and those were my best sellers. So other than the fact that that's my bestseller, it's also my favorite. So, and we made conversation about it. And I usually make sales on them. And those are tips and tricks that I would share, that I would suggest. All right, so, whew. Next one is strategic product placement, right? I think I mentioned that whenever I concern the flow of traffic, and arranging the products in such a way that customers can see everything clearly, but also encourage them to engage with specific items. So I mentioned that earlier, right? Yes, this is the next one that I would do. So whenever I would have my customers purchasing and they picked one thing out, I would have cheaper things close by, and my more affordable things would be my lip balm. And I can tell you, I got so much sales off lip balm because they were like right there. It's like you pick up a body wash, you gotta pick up a lip balm too, because it's small and it's more affordable compare to the rest of the items, and it's like an add-on. So those are like add-on purchases. So I would be like, and even I even had samples for the lip balm like come through. I had samples for the lip balm because why not? And not in a way that they're going to like put it on their lip, but they can smell it, they can use their fingers, things like that. Or the little scoop thing that I had, they could scrape it a little bit of the lip balm and try it on their fingers, try it on whatever they needed to try it on, right? So, ooh, sorry. So yeah, definitely think about that as well. So not because you're not a mall means that you can't, be like them, have add-ons, carry yourself like that, like the store that you want to be, and that way you can make extra sale that help to make your goal for the day. All right. The last, well, not the last thing, but the next thing that I want to add in here is when you meet customers, when you're selling to customers, have a sign-up sheet. The sign-up sheet is your mailing list. I had one, but I had it on whenever my customers would, let's say my customers finished purchase, I would have not a sign-up sheet, but at the end of it, it would say, do you want to be a part of my email list so I can send you promotions, etc. I would have that. Some people actually have an iPod, and then you can enter in your email address if a customer is passing. Maybe a customer doesn't want to purchase something right now, and they're like, hey, do you have a website? They can enter their email, and then you're able to send them something, and then they might buy. So you never know, right? You never know. So let's try to have that as well and have that accessible to your customers. Whew. Talk about a mouthful. I do need some water. Thanks for being here. If you're passing, well, we're still going, but if you're passing by, like the video, leave a comment. Have any questions, drop it in the comment section. I will answer it willingly. Okay, let's see. Next topic. We got a lot. All right, so I feel like this one is repetitive because I did that one before. That's what you get when you don't go in order. But this one is more customer engagement, maximizing customer engagement. But it goes hand in hand with what we spoke about earlier, right? With, talking to the customers, let them feel comfortable and things like that. It goes hand in hand with that. Scroll back up. Let's see. Engagement with visitors. Okay, we did that. Strategic placement. Okay. So the next one is dealing with challenges and troubleshoot. Let me tell you something. I had a lot of challenges and had to troubleshoot at my pop-up shop, but I didn't let it break me at all. I figured it out. One of the challenges that you'll probably run into doing a pop-up, especially if you're the only person at the booth, is a crowd. Let's say it gets really busy. You don't have any help because you're developing business. You can't afford help, and you don't have any family members who can work there with you. Right? So what you can do is being organized can help you with a crowd, and you need to be able to manage sales while interacting with multiple customers, and still maintain an energetic yet approachable attitude. So you don't want to be dealing with a sale, also dealing with a customer, and then seeming like you have, you're flustered, you have an attitude, or you're just getting overwhelmed, which we are human, we get overwhelmed, but you need to be able to function under pressure. You're at a pop-up shop, you have a craft shop, there's going to be a lot of people there, so you need to be able to handle that. You can't let it get the best of you, because that's how you lose your customers, and it's probably maybe how you interact with that person will decide if they stay or they leave. So you want to be able to handle that. And honestly, what we mentioned earlier with your signage and your display, those can help, because remember I said earlier, when you have proper signage, proper display, you can deal with one customer while that other customer uses your signage and your display to create that shopping experience, and to answer their questions, and to help them kind of figure out what they want and what they're dealing with. You can use your sign, literally your signage can do that for you. Your signage can do that for you. So that's why all of this works together hand in hand. It's cohesive, it helps. Like, one hand scratch the other one, everything goes together. So if you have proper signage, this should help you to eliminate that so many people interacting at once, and just breathe and get through it, because you can do this. You want the crowd so you can make the money. So the next tip that we're going to go over, so this is weather related tips for outdoor markets. Now if you're like me and you sell skincare, which is body butter, soaps and scrubs, outdoor market in the summertime might be a downfall. Because if you have your products, our products are made from scratch: body butters, soaps and scrubs. If we are at outdoor markets, then we are more likely to have our products melt. Melting products is a disaster. So if you have an outdoor market and you have a table, that this has happened to me before, I didn't have a tent. Without the tent, there is no shade. So I'm hot and the products are hot, which then results in my products melting. Disaster, hot mess. Right? Some of them did hold up, which was great. That means that a formula was formula in, but some of them didn't. Some of them actually ended up melting. It just didn't look really good. The mica was all over the place. It just wasn't really good, and it wasn't a good approach, especially if you have it on the table and the sun is directly over your table and you don't have a tent. Call it quits, pack it up, because all your stuff are gonna melt. So if you're going to be outdoors, a tent is very important. A little cheap tent, you can get a little cheap one from Walmart if you're going to be outdoors, or you can rent one. It is very important for your products. Not only a tent, but if you have things will melt easily, you might want a little cooler or somewhere to keep it cool, because if not, after a while that heat will be heating and your items will melt, and we don't want that, right? We don't want that to happen. Okay, the next one is handling slow periods, right? So when you have when you're at a market and it's a slow day. Now, not all markets are upbeat. You know what I say? Like, not all markets are upbeat and have a lot of customers, and to be honest, especially now, markets can be a hit or miss. You might go to a market and there's lots of customers, and you go to the next time you go to a market, empty, 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 empty. Sorry. Next time you go to a market and it's like super empty, like empty, 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 and you probably one or two customers. That happened to me before. Trust me, it happens. And that is why having an online presence for your business is very important, because if you go to this market, remember, you're paying for your booth, you're paying for all these things, and there's nobody there. There's nobody there. You're disappointed because you already paid for this booth and you didn't even make back the amount that you paid for the booth. That's an issue, and that's a problem. That's something that we want to prevent. We don't want to have that happen, but we can't prevent it all the time. We can't prevent it. And one thing that I did do is, when I had a pop-up shop, I promoted it on my social media, but I also did a Facebook ad, because Facebook has pixels. So I was able to do a Facebook ad and use that Facebook ad to target people in that area of where the pop-up shop is going to be. So I targeted people in that area and pushed ads to them. And a lot of people came. First of all, a lot of people comment underneath the ad, and then a lot of people came to my pop-up shop because of the ad, because they wanted to purchase my body butters. That is a great way to utilize social media and Facebook ads to benefit your pop-up shop, so you can get the best possible outcome from your pop-up shop. Tell me I'm lying. And that's I feel like that's like a tip. I don't think a lot of people talk about that. I don't see a lot of people talking about that when they're doing their pop-ups and just show up, because sometimes these events and these events, they don't promote their event well. That's number one. Sometimes the type of event that they're having may not align with the product that you're selling, so you have to be careful of that as well, and people probably don't want to buy it. So that's why, yes, you pay for this event, but also do your own legwork, where you can promote your business. Go and get your customers as well. Go get your customers to talk to people them yourself, and bring them to you. Go bring your customers to you. They're not coming, use the Facebook ad to bring your customers to you. That is something that was very beneficial for me. All right. Any questions so far? Or am I just yapping? No questions? No. All right, that's fine. Let's keep going. And if you're watching this on the rerun, drop your question in the comment section. I am going to do a timestamp so you can skip through this to see what benefits you and what doesn't. I'm also going to have everything that I suggest that you have for your pop shop in the comment section as well. So let's continue. Next one is booth etiquette, right? Booth etiquette is more of being respectful to other vendors, right? Being respectful to other vendors, keeping your space clean. I did mention that, and be mindful of customers' personal space when you're at these events as well. And this goes on hand in hand with being organized, because if you're organized, you shouldn't have to worry about being in a customer space or anything like that. But you want to think about that as well, and you want to think about being too distracted. Try not to be too distracted when you're at these events, so you can actually attract customers and talk to your customers. I mentioned earlier, if you're here or you're just passing by, you can like the live, that would really help. So the next segment is, I'm going to share my final tips for craft market, right? Success depending on where, because I feel like same craft market success can work both ways. Like you can have success if let's say the event that you're going in is really good, you can get a lot of customers from that. Also, you can have success because you promoted yourself before, you did the due diligence and you did the ads. You can have success because of your booth setup attracting lots of customers at your craft market. For me, it's pop-up shop, mainly pop-up shop. Oop, I just realized we had no music today. All right, so any other questions so far? We're gonna continue with understand music. That's fine. All right, any other questions for me so far? No. All right, let's do the next one. I don't know why I cannot find my music. We're not going to make this difficult. We're just going to continue. Anyways, so let's go ahead on my product review. Let's go ahead to our final thoughts for this. Well, kind of like our final thoughts. So when it comes down to pop-up shop, if you're frequent with the pop-up shops, let's try to keep the display fresh. Well, to make it less complicated, we can keep the same thing, but we can kind of freshen up every now and then, rearrange your booth, right? Keep things looking attractive, attract repeat customers, but still rearrange your booth, rearrange things, move it around, change out your displays, push certain items to the back and push things to the front, do market research. So like if you have customers coming, then let's say you go to pop-up shop and you say, all right, I noticed that X customer was paying attention mainly to these products. Like all the customers were just paying attention to these products. Great, that's a great thing, because guess what, now you know that all right, these products are best sellers. When I go to markets, we're going to rearrange the display, we're going to move things around, and we're going to put these things sorry we're going to put these things towards the front and have everything else in the back. Well, not the back, but you know what I'm saying. Or if you have a or if you have a or if you have a product that's not selling, put it beside a product that is selling to see if it will help them attract more customers. You know what I'm looking at? Switch it up a bit, man. Freshen it up, make it work for you. Right? If you're here, like the video, let me know if you have any questions or anything like that. Why is my look on myself? Guys, I'm looking at myself. This is why you don't look at yourself when you do this, right? All right, so the next thing that we want to do is wrong camera. Next thing that we want to do is think about packing and setup efficiency. Okay. Now, packing, for me, make sure that your items are foldable. That will really help with packing your products. Make sure your items are foldable. Make sure you have help. If you don't have help, it can be a bit rough, but make sure your setup is, you can break it down. So if you're purchasing items for your setup, make sure that they're foldable. Make sure you have bags and ways to transport them. Also, make sure you remember to have your tools. I'm going to give you a little checkup craft shop checklist, so you know what to have. Like, I feel like some people go to the craft stores and then pop-up shops and they don't have all these things, and then them kind of wonder why. But sometimes you just don't know, right? So this is for people who are still doing craft shows, because to be honest, I don't think a lot of people are doing craft shows. That's for a whole different topic. Sorry. But you want to be able to add in, make sure you have your tools, make sure you have things to break down your setup. A simple thing like having like a scissors at a craft show is an underrated item, but they come in handy. Like, you never know when you're gonna need the scissors. Make sure make sure you have your bags, right? Because you're selling stuff, so make sure you have bags, paper bags, whatever type of bags you need. I'll link them down below. You can get them quick in no time. I even got some from dollar store. When they purchase some tissue paper, put the products in there, put the products in there, put the products in there. We're going to have a video of a list of items you need for your pop-up shop. Let's do that, because this is just tips and tricks. So let's write that down. List of items needed for a pop-up. Okay, video idea, look at me. All right. So yeah, so when you have all the things, have all your tools, and that all your things are able to break down and have them organized and not all over the place, it makes it so much easier for you to do this. It makes it so much easier for you to transport your items, being able to find everything, not losing anything. You know them go there. All right, anybody have any questions so far? No, just me. That's fine. All right, so what I will say, we can do customer follow-ups, right? So after the market, you can make sure that you thank the customers for purchasing from you, and this is where your email marketing, your email capture in the beginning that I mentioned, this is where it comes handy. This is where you want to make sure you have that, because let's say you have all these customers email, guess what? Now you can go in your email marketing software and email them and thank them for coming, thank them for purchasing for you, and let them know you are available and you have more things to offer on our website. And quick one too, that's especially if you don't give them a business card, which you probably should, but if you don't, an email can work. And also encourage them to leave a review. Like, hey, if you like it, leave a review. Leave a review, and that way that's how I was able to increase like some of my sales to my online store by doing that. So leave a review. Well, suggest that they leave a review. All right. Whew. Wrapping it up, we're going to do a Q&A. This is at the end, but I feel like I'm going to gather all these Q&A questions from my videos and just put them in one spot so you can answer them. All right. So the first question, let's see here. Where is it? 1 second, guys. It's right here. Okay. Let's go. What is the best way to... No. Wrong questions. Oh, here it is. How can I make my booth stand out in a crowded market? I did mention an answer to this earlier where we're saying to make it stand out is your decor. Your decor for your display, right? And not only display your decor, let's say a customer is walking by really closely, have your eye-catching and best-selling items to the front, so when they walk past, because that has happened to me before. You ever go somewhere and buy something, and as you're walking past you see something and then you're like, I might like this item, and as a result you stop and turn around and look. Make sure those best sellers, those eye-catching items are towards the front, so as they're passing by they can see it. Make sure you have the riser to put them on the riser, so if a customer is passing by but probably a little bit far, they can see that item on the riser. Bam, there you have it. You have a view. That will help to attract them to your booth. And being not in front but beside your booth and engaging potential customers. They might walk by, hi, greet them, speak to them, let them feel welcome to come over and take a look at the items that you're selling. What's the best way to display products without taking up too much table space? The best way to do that is with the risers. Because when I should have a picture of that. I had a small table. Because I had a small table, I used the risers to get a lot of things on it but not taking up too much space. So small table, you get a riser, things underneath it, things on top of it, thing, there you go, problem solved with the riser. So I'm going to link the risers in the description box, so that way you can click on sort through them and see what you need and see what you might need for your pop-up shop, right? Do you have any advice for dealing with the difficult weather at an outdoor market? I mentioned this earlier. Have a tent. Check the weather before you go, because honestly, depending on the weather, a tent may not help you and you might want to skip it. Yeah, you might want to skip it because all your stuff are gonna get wet. Let's say you don't have a tent, all the things are gonna get wet if it's going to rain, if it's cold, if it's too hot, your items might melt, right? So you want to have a tent to cover that. And to be honest, sometimes it's not worth it if the weather is too bad. Pack up and go. Pack up and go. Have that email marketing, post something on the Instagram story, let your potential customers know, like, hey, we were at the pop-up, but due to inclement weather, we are no longer able to stay and we have to pack up and leave to protect your products. You don't want to lose all that money. And people will understand. Post it on your Instagram story if that's your main, if that's the main way where your customers can reach out to you, and let them know that you can't be there, right? All right. I think that's the last questions. I only had 3 questions for this one. Let's see. Don't have any posts to give you guys, but let's see what else is there. So let's do you want a summary of what we did? We did creating a visually appealing table, being engaging customers, troubleshooting effectively, and we also talked about whether we're concerned your pop-up, right? So if everything that I said before, if it was helpful, oh, if it was helpful for you, like the video, like the video, like the video. If this is something that you want to continuously see, subscribe to my channel. I make DIY body butter, DIY skincare products, DIY sugar scrub. I do it from scratch. I also talk about these things. I sit down and have sit down conversations with you to talk about this. And I also do some PayPal here, some card readers to help with your pop-up shop. I'm going to do a card reader video coming soon. So yeah, if anything like that, like the video. Thanks for being here. And yeah, until next time, this was real. I enjoyed it. And yeah, I'm out. See you on the next live.